Now hold on, stop. Before you start thinking about selling off those pieces from your Hot Toys collection, let's have a little chat, shall we? And talk about why you should, or maybe you shouldn't. All that and more coming up next. Well, what's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel for a brand new video that I hope will do some good in your immediate collecting lives, as well as potentially the future. That's right, today we're going to be discussing the topic of selling and moving on from pieces in your collection, or maybe even the entire collection as a whole. It's no secret to many that in the last year or two, we all have been seeing a lot of people decide to sell off pieces from their collection, or as I said, transition into selling their whole collection and getting out of the hobby altogether. The reasoning can be one of a million things, but I'm going to provide you with a few today. I've also seen people ask questions like where they can or where they should sell them, as well as how they should sell them. To keep that box or not? That is the question. So today, I want to talk a little bit about this and how the hobby has once again changed. But one thing that has not changed is your need to being subscribed to this channel. If you've watched any of my videos so far, given that presumptive like, and you have not yet hit subscribe, well, what more do you need? Let's end this stalemate. Join the fun and help me get to 10,000. I would certainly appreciate it. And you yourself will certainly benefit. I promise you that. Now, if you should sell your collection or not, that is the question. I think the best place to start when it all said and done is a specific question. And that is, why do you want to sell them? Is it overwhelming? Do you not like collecting anymore? Is it becoming too expensive? I'm sure you've noticed that the world, not just Hot Toys, has seen some crazy price increases. Or maybe, and most importantly, it's just not fun for you anymore to collect. At the end of the day, there are no wrong answers to any of those questions that I just raised. So again, I encourage you to ask yourself that question and answer it truthfully. Find the answer to why, because that will ultimately tell you whether that you should or shouldn't sell your collection. Now, for example, it's very easy to get overwhelmed in this hobby, especially when you first start out collecting. I did it, many other people did it, and many more will continue to do it. We all bought the things that we liked because, as I've said before, no one just has one of these. We see and we buy an Iron Man here, then we buy a Spider-Man there, then we bought a Trooper from Star Wars, and on it goes. We bought all kinds of stuff. And then maybe like a year or two down the line, you're looking at your collection and you're like, wow, this is really all over the place. What is going on? But as a side note, you should always collect with purpose and intention, not on hype and emotion. And that's a free tip right there. But you begin to look around your collecting room and say, why did I buy all this stuff? The moral of the story is just because you like it doesn't mean you have to buy it, but it's a lesson that a lot of people have to learn, myself included. And that was one big expensive lesson that I did learn the first 2 to 3 years of collecting. Eventually, I got a little bit wiser and I realized that I don't need everything just because. It's a novel concept, I know, but just because you watch a new TV show or a movie doesn't mean that you automatically need to collect a figure from it. These aren't exactly like souvenirs that you just pick up at the gas station that you know and have a novelty from your trip to remember it by. But I also think a lot of the overwhelming feeling as well, especially with Hot Toys recently, is with how much they pump out so fast. As I said in an earlier video lately, they've been pumping out about 70 new figures every year. Mix in some die-cast and some artisan pieces and, well, you do the math on that. It is getting nuts lately and it flat out overwhelms you financially, even if a majority of these are pre-orders, because once all that money starts coming out of your account, you're like, oh shit! Stop taking my money. Now, another point is it fun to collect anymore? And that's the big question. And this also ties into this hobby being overwhelming because they're constantly bombarding you with all kinds of incredible new offerings. Whether something's an exclusive one day or a time release the next, or maybe it's a unique artisan figure that just is coming out, or maybe it's a 2.0 and a re-release. It's just never ending. And of course, I know a lot of people are going to quote it in the comments, and I've even said it already, you don't have to buy everything, which is true, but that is easier said than done. After all, you don't want to have to tell someone on Reddit or Facebook that you passed on that exclusive figure, do you? But all that to say, I think it's pretty fair to assume that something else that doesn't seem like a lot of fun is that things that you do want sell out rather quickly, or not readily available, or stuck behind a queue system, or maybe you just get tired of waiting on certain things to ship when everyone and their grandma already has it. That certainly can be annoying and soul-crushing as a collector, and I know patience is key in this hobby, but don't lie. If you're excited for something and it gets delayed, you can be pretty upset about it too. And there is nothing wrong with that. Add all those things into a mixer and out pops a pretty disgruntled collector. So now that I've explained all those a little bit more thoroughly, let me know if you guys are feeling any of those things with your collection down in the comments below. But as we get to the how of selling, I do have to say it does make me sad to see how many people are leaving the hobby. Now, there's always new people that are joining, sure, but I see a lot of people actively selling stuff every single day because they just can't keep up with it anymore, or they're bored, or because of the oversaturation of the market, or trying to catch the market high before a new release. It goes on and on. It just makes me a little sad because if you're a collector, you will always collect something. So I'm just trying to save you a little bit of heartache and money in advance. But now, selling. You officially made the decision. You're looking around at your collection and you're like Anakin and say, "What have I done?" So if you're considering selling parts of your collection due to being overwhelmed, here's a cool little tip that I like to do. I like to go through my collection every once in a while and look at figures and be like, hey, do I like this as much as I did when I first bought it right now? If the answer is no, okay, that's the one to let's get rid of. And let's replace it with something that you like more. Or maybe use the money to buy something else. Maybe not even a figure at all. Reinvest in yourself. Reinvest into something else. Go on a date. Go to the movies. Something. Anything different. And that's a really great way to maintain the size of your collection as well as keep up financially to where you can just sell a piece out of your collection and use that money to continue other interests. You're basically cycling out your collection every now and then because people's interests change every single day. After all, you wake up a new person every single day. The gift of life. Another tip that I have for you guys is something that I've seen a lot of people telling me when they sold their collection, and that is this. Don't sell it all. Keep a few things that mean something to you and that you can really make you happy. If you're feeling like you've hit your limit or you just can't collect anymore and you can't keep up, do what they did. Sell a majority, but not all of them. Just keep a few that really make you happy, as I said, and when you can, also kind of rebuild your collection from there. Start over if you want, when you are ready though. Because like I said, if you are a collector, you will always collect something if you decide to get back into it. You have some solid pieces at that point that still mean something to you and is a great foundation to build on. So now that we've kind of discussed a little bit on maybe how you're feeling about your collection and a couple tips of what you can do to kind of alleviate that pressure, you might ultimately decide that you just don't want to collect anymore and you are done. If that be the case, here's a couple more tips that I have for you in terms of selling. And the first is perhaps the most painful, but also the most important. And the first question you have to ask when selling your figures is how much money are you willing to lose? I know, but you have to understand, depending on what is in your collection, if your collections are nothing but common mass-produced pieces, you're usually going to take a lot less home of what it's actually valued. The market is just not there. If you're trying to sell a figure that everyone has, you can't expect it to fetch anywhere close to retail. Now, if your collection is full of a lot of grails and exclusives, well, usually you do get a little bit more money for that and you have more options, but as you know, that grail can become obsolete literally overnight with a single Hot Toys Instagram post. I just want you to keep this in mind and don't take this as me promoting flippers, resellers, or anything like that. It's more so just to try to give you a snapshot of what the market actually is and what you can expect if you do in fact decide to sell some figures in your collection. But now, the next big question is where to sell some of these pieces. Now, something I would never recommend is taking it to like a comic book shop or a local toy store because unfortunately, they're only going to be able to give you at most 40% of what its current value is. And I'm not knocking those shops by any means, no. Sometimes that's all those stores can offer, and sometimes you need money fast, I get it, but there are a million factors that go into buying and spending that much on product. And I do wish that they would offer more, though personally, I would just never take my figures to a comic book shop. It's just not a good place to take it if you're looking to maximize your money from your collection that you're selling. If you need to bulk dump or some fast cash in an emergency, sure, go ahead, that makes sense. But as far as selling things individually, you have plenty of options here to choose from. You can sell them on eBay. You can sell them on Whatnot, Mercari, Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, Twitter, all kinds of different avenues here. It's a little bit easier when you have a following, of course, or you have some type of social page, but I would recommend if you're just starting out and you don't have much of a following or anything like that, just go to eBay or a Facebook group where you can reach thousands of people all at once. Now I know with eBay, you will have to pay some fees, and that can hurt, but the potential pool of buyers is so much higher. If you want to try your luck on a buy-sell trade group on Facebook Marketplace, be prepared to haggle and deal with lowballers. Always use PayPal goods and services and only sell to reliable buyers that are not scammers. Don't waste your time with people that are just trying to waste yours. It's actually pretty simplistic, but a lot of people just don't know where to start or what to do right now, to be frank with you. So hopefully this video got a little bit of clarity into your collecting mindset, or maybe you're even more confused. Let me know how you guys are feeling right now down in the comments below. Are you at that point where you want to sell your collection maybe? Or maybe you're just kind of in the middle with, you're saying, I just don't know. You still like collecting, but you just can't keep up. Maybe you just want to start over. I would really love to hear what everyone is going through right now, your thoughts down below. And by sharing your thoughts, it'll probably help out a lot of people who are really struggling with this decision. And if you are struggling, just remember, you are not alone, and we have all been there with you. Well, that's going to do it for us here today, but hopefully this video was helpful to you. And if you guys need any further explanation about anything, drop a comment down below. I love answering all the different questions that you guys submit. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button down below if you haven't already, and subscribe and click that notification bell as well. Follow me on all my socials listed down below. Lots of good stuff out there. So until next time, happy collecting, think before you sell, and I'll be seeing you